The year's 2025, and you had a really good idea. Let's buy a 1997 HAAS VF3 CNC mill and then teach ourselves how to use it. These older HAAS CNC mills can be bought at a serious bargain on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist or whatever your machine dealer website you use. But the problem is if you go on YouTube on the internet, you're going to find little to no information how to actually set these machines up and use them. This sort of situation is going to be very intimidating to get into. You're not going to know where to start. You just spent all this money, and the first thing you want to do is turn the machine on and make sure it functions, but you don't even know how to get to that point. And don't worry, I'm here to help you. This video is going to be a little bit different than the channel's main content, which is usually building stuff. But today, we want to build stuff, we just don't know how to get there. So we're going to start there. We're going to start with what happens when you get this machine. You get it all wired up, and how do you turn it on and how do you get it to move? So here we go. So this is what you're going to see once you finally get your machine powered on, but we're going to start at the beginning. I mean the very, very beginning. So we're going to power this machine off on camera. We're going to power it back on. We're going to put through all the steps that we need to do. I'm going to show you what you should see upon startup. And if there's anything different in your machine, I'm sorry, I don't know everything about these machines. This is for my particular machine, but I'm sure a lot of this will help everybody. There's way more that I can go over in one video here. So again, we're just going to focus on the startup of the machine today. So here we go. First step we're going to do, we're going to power my machine off. It's already been powered on. Your screen might look different because I've upgraded my screen to an LCD screen versus the CRT. The CRT that came in it was all destroyed and burnt out. So I replaced that already. It's very basic. You just pull it out, replace it. Easy. But here we go. Machine's off, screen's blank, everything's dead. The first thing we want to do is we're going to have to hit the power button, and then you're going to be greeted with this screen. Don't worry about the alarms. They're kind of annoying, but what you're going to do, you're going to get to this alarm page, no add 0 XYZ. Basically, ignore it. What you want to do is you want to go to the alarm page right here. This button right here. You hit this button one time, and it's going to tell you what the alarm is. The machine's off, that's why. But it's very easy. You get to the alarm page by hitting the alarm button, hit the reset button, and the alarm clears out. Easy, easy, easy. The next step we have to do is we have to hit the power up restart button. And what that's going to do is it's going to put the machine back into its home position, allowing the machine to basically recenter itself in its virtual axis world that it has. And that way it knows where it's at and it knows where to go. So, hit it. And now mind you, make sure your doors are closed. I don't have any doors, but make sure your doors are closed. Make sure everything's out of the way. Make sure everybody's safe. And as soon as that's good, go ahead and hit the button and you'll see the whole machine basically recenter itself. Now, I'm going to move my camera. Just know that I'm going to be hitting this button, and that's what's going to cause this action to happen. Beautiful. And as you can see over here, the screen has now went to this screen, which tells you all of the stuff that's going on in the machine. We don't really care about this right now. We're not there yet. But we now have got the machine back to its home 0 position, and now we can start moving it, loading programs, doing whatever. So let's start there. In order to move this machine, we either have to input code to tell it where to move to, or we have to put the machine into hand jog mode, which allows us to move it basically using the rotary encoder over here on the left hand side. It's important to know which direction you're going, meaning that you don't want to dive your tool or your spindle into the vise or the workpiece. So you got to make sure that you're understanding what the positive or negative values correspond to. And in this case, a negative value in the z-axis means that the spindle is going down towards the workpiece, and a positive value means it's going away. So at the end of a program, it's always wise to retract your spindle in the z-axis positive to make sure that you can actually get the part out of the machine without hitting the spindle or the tool. Or just in general, it's a good rule of thumb to make sure your z-axis is clear and out of the way, just in case you make some sort of rapid movement and accidentally crash into the workpiece or the vise or something else. So here we are at this screen. This tells you a bunch of stuff as far as where the machine is, where the operator is, where your part 0 is, and how far you've moved from the current position. I don't think this is really important for this video right now. I think this is kind of irrelevant, but right here is what we're looking at. Jogging at axis, feed at 1.0. That's a little bit too quick. So the first step we're going to have to do is we're going to choose an axis that we want to change. It doesn't make a difference. You just got to click either X, Y, or Z. It doesn't matter which one you select. But you got to tell the machine which direction of travel are you trying to go in. So in this case, let's go ahead and select the Z axis. Now it puts the Z in front of it. Now it's telling us that the jogging handle at the Z axis is going to move at that increment, 0.001. So every click of the rotary encoder, it's going to move 0.001. That may be too slow at first, but it's always best to start slow and then to change your speed as you get more comfortable with the machine and the movements. You definitely don't ever want to go ramping up on the 0.1 side of things and then trying to get close to the part, because you'll end up crashing and then you cause a whole bunch of problems. And I'll show you what an example of a problem looks like. This is what happens when you crash your tool. You take a chunk out of your part right there. So don't do that. You can actually see the shell mill is imprinted on that spot as well. That's because I was unfamiliar with the machine learning. And yeah, this part is scrapped now. I'm going to do my best to show you the screen and the machine at the same time, but it's a little bit difficult because I have to talk into the camera as I'm doing this. So I apologize for having shit angles on this video. Let's stop talking. Let's get into it, right? So we have the machine set at 0.001 increment, and we have this Z-axis all the way retracted up, and we want to go negative on the rotary encoder. So we have to go negative by going counterclockwise, and it's going to start dropping down our Z-axis respectively to how many clicks we do. Now, again, start off slow, and I'm going to show you what slow looks like at first. Now, we're going to be here all night doing this, right? We don't have all night. This video needs to be short, coherent, and to the point. So let's go ahead and we're going to put our machine into 0.1 mode, which is going to allow us to move quicker. Now, the machinists are going to absolutely fucking lose their mind with my abbreviations of 0.1, 0.01, whatever the case is. Everyone wants to hear thousands, 10,000, 100,000. Go fuck yourself. So here is the 0.1 mode. Ready? Look how quick this goes. Oh, yeah. Okay, so now we want to change our axis and move the x-axis. So we have to select either the x negative or the x positive. It doesn't matter. And then you'll see the screen change jogging in x-axis at this increment. Go ahead, you can change it, whatever one you want. I know we're safe at this increment. And then we're going to shift the whole x-axis over, like so. You can do the same thing with the y-axis. Click the Y button. And there we go. So far we've been able to turn the machine on, home the machine, clear the alarms. Yeah, we can move it around manually, but we now want to actually use the CNC functionality of the machine. So how do we go about doing that? Well, I'm going to tell you now. I feel like a video dedicated to just explaining how to load programs and the different ways you can do it needs to be in a separate video altogether, because there's quite a few ways to do it on this machine. And there's even more settings that I can even show you in the amount of time that you're going to have attention span for. So let's just talk about the easiest, quickest way to input code and just make this machine move on the CNC functionality. To input basic code in this machine, we can go ahead and use the basically MDI DNC function button, which is going to bring us to a basic menu, which just basically has a blank screen that you can input code into. Now, I already have a couple lines of code in here. There we go, on focus. I already have a couple lines of code in here already, which basically tells the machine to keep itself about 0.3 of an inch above my work plate 0, and then move to a 0, 0, 0 location, basically rehoming the machine, but not the machine 0, the part 0, which I have already set in a different menu, but we're not going to talk about that right now. This part of the machine's functionality is actually pretty simple. You can use the arrow keys to move around and select whatever line of code you want. On the top here, you have a couple of settings: insert, alter, delete, and undo. It's pretty self-explanatory. Insert means that you're adding a line of code, and wherever this cursor is, you can hit insert. It's going to add the line of code after what it's selected on. Alter is just going to change what's highlighted. So if you want to change that colon to a 1, you basically press 1, and then you are going to hit alter. And we can't do that, but if it, here, let's just do it over here. So let's say we want to go over here and we want to change that G00 to a G01. We would type in G01 and then we hit alter, which is going to change that G00 code that's highlighted into a G01, just like that. And if we don't want that, we can also hit the undo button. And if we don't want that, we can hit the delete button. Or if we want to add another line of code in after the G00, we can type in like X0.0 and we can hit alter or insert. But in this case, we're going to hit insert and it's going to put that line of code right after the G00, just like that. And again, if you don't like that, hit the undo, or if you don't like it at all, you hit the delete. And that's how you can use that functionality. And from there, you can basically write handwritten code on your controller and just use that. And whenever you're ready, if you want to test it, you can hit the cycle start and it'll happen. If you are comfortable and understand the code part of it, this is how you can input code manually without using a computer or a DNC controller or just anything. You can just manually input it just right here. But you're going to need to know what the codes are or what codes you're using. And making yourself a cheat sheet like this, laminating your G and M codes and having those handy will speed up the process of understanding what the machine's doing, how it's doing it, or if you want to change it on your own without going back into your software, you can basically use this code cheat sheet and then alter or change the values as you want. And there's quite a few ways to do it on the HAAS machine. But unfortunately, again, there's not enough time in one video to go over every single way of doing this in the machine. Today is just an overview of basically how you can do it quickly. I want to wrap this video up. It's getting way too long, but in the next video, I definitely want to go into detail about the setup procedure for basically communicating with your HAAS CNC controller over a DNC controller or an RS-232 connection, which is pretty darn cool. But we just don't have the time today to do it. So before we end this video, I want to show you the quick features that you have with the machine that you can load programs from your computer using whatever favorite CAD software, such as SolidWorks or maybe Fusion or maybe another program I never heard of. But this is the simplest way that you can do it that HAAS provided back in 1997. Over on the side of your controller, HAAS from the factory had given you a 3.5-inch floppy drive, which is pretty much crap because nobody uses 3.5-inch floppies in 2025. I've already converted mine over so I can use a USB, which needs to be a separate video in itself. But that is one way you can add code into this controller. The second way HAAS provided a way to talk to this machine is through an RS-232 with a DB25 connection cable, which you can run to an older PC or a DNC standalone controller that you can get off eBay or Amazon, depending on which one you like most. Here on the side of the machine, I have two different types of DNC controllers. That one on the left-hand side is absolute garbage. I recommend everybody stay away from ShopLink Flash 2.0. It is the biggest piece of shit I've ever seen in my life. The one with the LCD touchscreen interface, that's not touchscreen, is it? No, it's not. That one's way better. Maybe a little bit of a waste of money. I think the functionality is best suited for an actual older PC, which currently I'm using a Lenovo TS140 Think server, which works perfectly, and I'm just using a DB8 connection to a DB25 over there, and it's just a few setup procedures in the menu. Hopefully when you bought your CNC mill, you got the 3-ring binder from HAAS, and you got one of these quick start menu laminated sheets, which basically helps you understand the quick and dirty of it. But I understand most people aren't going to spend the time reading all this bullshit. You're going to watch a video, you're going to skim through it, you're going to fast forward through it. That's probably the way most people learn. I'm okay with that. So if you like the video, give it a thumbs up, give it a like, add some comments, tell me what you want to see, what you want to learn. I'd love to make a video for you guys. And to end this video, I'm going to show you what it looks like to send a whole chunk of code through my computer to the controller in real time, so that way you can see how quickly you can send code using this RS-232 protocol that most people don't understand. Until next time, friends, keep your stick on the ice.